What's up, you guys? Today I'm going to show you how to make the super awesome medium-sized wooden American flag. Let's get started. Alright, before we get started, I just wanted to show everyone real quick what size flag I'm showing in this video. So the one in the middle right here is the one that I'm going to show you how to build right now. I can link the videos on how to build the big one and the mini one in the description, but I just wanted to show everyone before we get started, just in case you would rather build a bigger one or a smaller one. I just wanted to show everyone that. But without further ado, let's get down to the build. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is take my wood. I just got some 1x2s and I'm just going to rip them down to 1 inch so that they will be 1 inch wide, and that will give us the proper width for our stripes. Alright, now that I got all these ripped down to a nice 1 inch, the next thing that I'm going to do is cut 13 of them at 24 3/4 inches. Alright, now that we got all of our stripes cut, the next thing that I'm going to do is take some 220 grit sandpaper and just sand over the faces just to give them a nice, smooth, clean finish. Alright, so now that we got them all sanded, the next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and torch them. So I just got my good old Burns-O-Matic propane torch. And you can torch them however dark you want to. It's kind of just a personal preference, but I'll just show you how dark I do them. And maybe you can kind of get your own judgment based off of that. Just get this thing turned on. And you just want to make sure you don't pause anywhere. Otherwise that'll leave a dark spot. Alright, so I'm just going to do something like that. As you can see, that one right there, I did it a little bit darker. And you could do it lighter too if you want to, but that's about how dark I'll do mine. So I'm going to go through and torch the rest of these, and then we will be ready to stain. Alright, so now that we got them all torched, the next thing that we're going to do is stain them. So for the red stain, I got some Minwax water-based wood stain, and it is tinted in Scarlet, and this is from Lowe's. And then I also got some, for the blue, I got Varathane water-based wood stain, and it is tinted in Navy Blue, and that is from Home Depot. And I'll just be using a rag to stain these, just dipping it and then wiping it on. And let me just show you real quick how to do the union. Alright, so to do the union, I'll just be using some utility blades, and the way I'm going to do it is just measure over from the left side, and I'll make a mark at 10 inches. Then I'm going to take a speed square and just put it right on that mark, and then I'm going to take a hammer. So once I got it lined up right on that mark, I'm just going to put my blade right along my speed square, and then I'm just going to just tap it in. And you just want to check and make sure that it's biting on both sides and that it's in far enough to where nothing will bleed through. So that right there is good. So we're just going to do that to the top 7 stripes. And I'll go ahead and stain this one real quick just so you can see how I stain it. So I just get some on the end of my rag, and then I just go back and forth and just rub it in. And then you just want to push it right up against that blade as close as you can get, and that will give it a really nice, clean line. And then also, I'm just going to stain right on the inside edge too, just a little bit, just in case they don't line up perfectly flush. Then there's no white showing. So I'll just stain that just like that. And then I'll leave the outsides edges clean, but I'll just do that on all the inside edges. And then as you can see right there, that stained up to it really nice and close. And I'm just going to go through and stain the rest of these. I'll probably do two or three coats depending on how well the stain goes on. But I'm going to go ahead and get them stained, and we'll be ready to assemble it. All right, so I just finished staining these things, and just gonna pull one of these out real quick just to show you how it looks. If you pop that out, and there it should be a really nice clean line. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I ended up doing 3 coats of the blue and just 2 coats of the red, just to give you an idea. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull the rest of those out and then get them up on the table so that we can get it all glued and nailed together. All right, so the way I'm gonna attach this whole thing together is I'm just gonna go 1 stripe at a time, and I'll just clamp them starting at one end, and each time I put a clamp in, I'm just gonna tack a nail in there. I just got an 18 gauge brad nailer, and I'll just use 1¼ inch nails. And I got my pressure turned up so that they'll go a little bit deeper. And then once I'll just put about 4 across, just space them out. And then I'll also glue between each one. So I'll just lay a bead of glue, and then I'll push them together, nail it across, pull the clamp off, lay a bead of glue, do the next one, so on and so forth all the way up. And then it should be held together nice and secure. And for some of these, if you just lay them on there and it seems like it connects pretty tight, you could probably just go ahead and just nail it without clamping it. But if it's bent at all, then you'd probably want to clamp it just to make sure it connects real good. All right, so I got it all glued and nailed, and I just went ahead and threw these bar clamps on there just so that it can dry up all nice and tight. And then I'm gonna quickly go through and just clean up all this glue that came through, and then I'll give it some time to dry, and then we'll be ready to start on the union. If you do have any glue that comes through, the best way I found is to just take a razor blade and then just go ahead and just run it right along the seam, just like that, and then it usually cleans it up pretty well. All right, so I've given it some time to dry and set up, and now we're ready to start on the union. So for the union, I'll just be using a stencil. I'll go ahead and link this down below if you want to order one. I don't know if you can buy just a single medium one, but I'll just link the pack that has one. And what I'm gonna do is just use some blue tape, and I'm just gonna tape it on the top and the side, and then I'll just tack a couple pieces on these white stripes. And I just don't want to tape too much to the face of it so it doesn't peel anything up. And then I'm just going to go through and trace those out with a pencil, and then we can start carving. All right, so I just got done tracing those out. So let me just quickly show you how it looks. And as you can see, I just put a piece over here up top, and then I just tacked it right through there. So if you pull it up, should have a nice outline of everything. And now we are ready to start carving. All right, so now that we got these all outlined, the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my Dremel. I just got a Dremel 3000. And then I got a flex shaft attached to it. And then to outline the stars, I'll just be using my 105 wood carving tip. It's the smallest wood carving tip. It would be this one right here. And then after I outline them, I'll go through with the 106 wood carving tip and clear out the middles of them, because that'll make it a little bit easier to clean out the wood. But the 105 is just better for getting the tips of the stars nice and clean. And these flags should be a little bit easier to do the stars than on the mini flags, because those stars are considerably smaller. Let me just give you an idea. There's the mini one, and here's this one. So these ones are pretty hard to get nice and crisp. But these ones I think should be a little bit easier than these ones just because they're a little bit bigger. So like I said, I'm gonna use the 105 tip first, and then after I'm done outlining all of them, I'll use the 106 tip. And I'll just show you real quick what it looks like when I'm carving. I like to just try and hold my hand just in one spot, and then just kind of swivel back and forth, and then try and just control how hard you're pushing, and then that will help to get it kind of like an even depth. But let me just show you what it looks like. All right, so now that we got all these outlined, I'm gonna go ahead and throw on the bigger tip. So that would be the 106 tip right here. I can go ahead and link this kit in the description if you want to order it. It's a nice kit. It's got some wood engraving stuff in it. So, but let me just show you. This is the 106 and that is the 105 right here. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw this on and use it to just clean out all the middles of these and get these all cleaned up. Alright, so I got all my stars carved out, and the next thing that I'm going to do is just take some sandpaper and I'm just going to go and sand all the edges, and then I'm going to just take my torch and then just lightly torch over them. Actually, I'll probably do a darker torch, and then that'll just give it a nice consistent look. And then I'm also going to quickly torch over the stars just a little bit, just to give them a little bit of a brown look to them. If you like them just how they are like that, you can just leave them, but I'm just going to torch over mine, and then after that we will be ready to throw on some hangers, and then we can seal it up. Alright, so I went ahead and torched all the sides. As you can see, I went ahead and did it so that it torched the front of it a little bit. You don't have to do that. That was just something I did just to give it a little bit of a different look to it. Now we're just going to quickly flip it over. And then for the hangers, I'll just be using these sawtooth hangers, and I'll just put one on each side. And for the spacing, I'm just going to go ahead and measure 3.5 inches in from either side, and then that's where I'll put this screw, or the outside screw, and then that will make it so that they'll be 16 inches apart, and then that would allow you to hang it on the studs if you want to. And then to get the right measurement down, I'm just going to put my speed square on here, and then I'll just mark 3 3/4, and then I'll just make a mark maybe at like 1.5 inches, and that'll put it right in the middle. And then also make sure that you pre-drill these holes just so that the wood doesn't split. So I'm going to quickly throw these hangers on, and then I also just grabbed 2 extra screws. These are just random screws, and I'm just going to put them just in these bottom corners, and then that will I'm just gonna leave like the head sticking out, and then that will make it sit flush on the wall so that the top doesn't angle out any further. Then it will even it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all these screwed in, and I'll show you how it looks. All right, so that is what those look like. And then I got these little spacers down here at the bottom, and let me just show you real quick what those look like. All right, so that is what it looks like hanging up on the wall. So it's not a huge difference, but I think it just helps a little bit just so that it's not tilting out at the top. And if you don't like the slim look, just you can see that it's a lot more closer to the wall than just like the regular size flags. You could always just rip down some 12-inch backer strips and just nail those on the back after you glue it, and then that will just push it out from the wall. That'll just give it the same look as the bigger flags have. So that is definitely something you could do if you like how it looks when it's stuck off the wall a little bit. The only thing we got left to do now is to seal it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use this Minwax fast drying polyurethane clear gloss sealer, just because I got some of this left from a different project I was doing. But this is the stuff I usually use, and this stuff works just fine also. This is just Rust-Oleum crystal clear enamel. And when I seal it, I just do 3 light even coats, and that'll give it some good protection. All right, and that is what it looks like all finished up. Please let me know if you guys have any questions down below, and I'd be happy to answer them. I'll go ahead and link everything that I used down below in the description if you would like to order anything. I'd love to hear any video recommendations that you guys might have for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and good luck with your project.